Every day, thousands of video game consumers find themselves unsatisfied with their purchases and the state of the gaming industry. These are their stories.
Well, as a kid, I had Super Nintendo, and Mortal Kombat was a big thing on those older consoles. So I was more into that game than I was while kids were playing Zelda and Mario. I was like, oh, this is a fun game. You get to beat each other up. So yeah, that's how I got into it. Nowadays, I stick to mostly games that just have a good story to it. I don't really get sucked into the multiplayer as much anymore because I really don't have time to compete with people. So I usually just buy games that fit my interests, I would say. Story-wise, I play the game. I enjoy what the developers did with the story, the characters, the whole mise en scène, which is movie terminology, about the whole general synopsis of the game. So I don't have time to sit around and play the multiplayer and stick around. So I'm usually I treat it like reading a book. I play the game, I enjoy it, and then I trade it in the next day because that's it for me. Satisfied with? Definitely the newest addition to the Halo franchise. Halo 4, I felt like it was a very successful job by the new studio, 343, that took over. I feel like they did everything right. They made sure that everything was polished nicely. They went a little bit of a safe route to make sure the game was good, and I feel like that was a really good job by them, that they focused on making sure the game was done right instead of trying to be crazy with it and running into problems. They just played it safe, and I felt like that was really good of them.
I first got into gaming with Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. I like to stick with that storyline-based, character development kind of game, and a lot like more recently Uncharted. Love that. I feel like it was better to have the games growing up, the more finished games. It held my attention more. It was better to just sit there for hours and days, months, especially with Zelda when I was younger. It took me forever, maybe over a year, to play that game, and that's pretty ridiculous. But it still kept my attention, and I definitely think that it was worth the money for that back then versus today, where I'm a great example of it. We're just getting tired of them right away. You play it for a little bit and you're done with it. I really don't feel like I'm getting as much bang for my buck now, more so than before with the older games. It feels like the companies are rushing, especially with the first-person shooters, and more so the Call of Duty. There's a game coming out like every year with them. Granted, it's like a different title and maybe a different series, but still, it's how long is that train gonna ride? I'll play a few hours, beat the storyline, whatever that is, play with my friends a couple times, and then I just get bored with it real easily. More like at the one and done games, trade it back in real quick. I feel like the gamers themselves need to just take it upon themselves to educate them. There's countless of websites and developers that are just posting all this information on their sites, just about everything about their game. And especially with waiting to the conventions when they release all the other big news. People just need to get on that and educating themselves, so they won't be disappointed when something comes up saying, oh, instead of this game being completely finished, here's just the first part, and then here's some DLC to have later on. So you're still going to pay the $60, but you still have to pay the extra money for the downloadable content later on. I mean, it's kind of like a little robbery right there. It's not really fair for the consumers. And then ever since that, it was just downhill from there.